Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Heather with Rose Hill Paper Cottage, and this is my design team project for Chapter 1 papers. So today I am sharing how I'm making some pockets. I love pockets. They're easy to do. You can create them, many different ways. This is just a way that I have been creating them lately because it's quick. And you can coordinate it to any kind of color that you want to. So here, I've got the Delightful Florals kit, and you can see that I've printed them, 2 to a page, 4 to a page. So I've obviously altered their sizing. Here's a couple other, ones that I resized 2 to a page. They're full page spreads, but they're interesting, and they have the florals. I do have a video on that. You have to go back a couple years if that might help you. Tags are great. They're like instant pockets. You can use them so many different ways. And I love the labels. You can also fussy cut. I don't tend to do as much fussy cutting. I just don't. But you could. You totally could. And it would look great. This is actually a full page one that I printed, but look how interesting that is. It just has so many different florals and patterns on it. I really love it. And then these two are from the Peaches and Greens kit. I love the backgrounds of those. They also tend to be a little bit more neutral. You'll see I'll make a neutral pocket as well. So I just kind of gather up whatever just is speaking to me, whatever I'm liking, and then I will use for the back a lot is dictionary page because it's so thin. It's just the perfect backdrop page paper to layer things on because it's thin and it won't add a lot of bulk. So I'm using pages from this dictionary here. You can use whatever size dictionary that you want. And a lot of times I'll pull out the entire signature because I like the spine part when they're torn in half. I love that look of that spine kind of, coming behind as I layer on top of it. But you could use copy paper, you could use tracing paper, you could use whatever paper that you want to. Just keep in mind whatever paper you use adds to the overall thickness when you're done. And then here's my scrap basket, and I always have my scraps in there that I keep from previous projects or just things that are fragile, stuff I've torn off of, authentic pieces, just whatever, I might still want to use. I still think it has, a lot of value. So I've got a little stack of ledger pieces, and then I've got some envelopes. Now, a lot of times I'll come across envelopes and they've torn the stamp off, and I think those are great to use for things like this because, that it's already been damaged. Now, you could totally add a new stamp and all that kind of stuff. You could use this as your background piece if you wanted to. But I believe I use it and I'll tear it and use it as a pocket because it'll be perfect for that. You can also use the other side of it. If you follow me on IG, I believe I posted a photo not that long ago where I actually used an envelope like that and then did some texture paste at the top and created like a multi-pocket piece. You could actually use a full-size envelope, open it up and use that as your, to create all your layers for your pocket, or ledger scrap or, whatever. Piano roll paper, because that's fragile, so you could use that as your background. I have an old, just document there and some old letters and my handmade paper. And then these are some more fragile scraps. So just, find whatever, appeals to you, whatever looks good to you. And then whatever color palette. Chapter 1 has tons and tons of different digitals for, any color combo that you're looking for. So a lot of times I just take like a dictionary page and I'll just fold it in half, especially if it's this size. The reason for that is I actually don't know where a lot of these pockets will go. If you already know, well, then this part wouldn't matter. But if you don't know where they're going to go or where they're going to end up, you don't have a project started for them to go into, then I may want to use it as a page in a journal. I may want to use it as a pocket. I may want to use it as a flip out. So it just kind of depends. So I don't want to make things more complicated later by not having folded it in half and then have basically that hinge if I wanted to. But that's completely optional. You don't need that step. So I basically just tear it, and then I'll fold it in half with that spine piece, flipped out basically. And that just creates like a lot of little natural interest. And then I'll tear this one in half, but like I said, you don't have to do that. I just fold mine a lot, and then I'll tear it off later if I don't end up using it. So I'm going to fold all of these. And I mean, you can make these any size that you want. Just because your dictionary page is, this size or a different size, it doesn't matter. You can make your pocket however big or small that you need for your project. So you don't have to let the paper determine that, because, you can tear more off. You can, fold it to reinforce it. I mean, you can do all sorts of different things. So now you're going to see basically my process and how I layer. And I like to have texture, and I like to use multiple shades of different, papers. And then I also like my papers going different directions. So as you can see there, I've got, book page going up and down, and then horizontal reading there. But I saw the December date on it, and I thought, oh, I may save that if I do a winter project. So I skipped over, and I decided to grab the ledger and see. Now, when I create, because I like that, like floral, the handmade paper has a floral in it, but it's all one color. So I'm going to eventually look for a little bit more color, unless I just want it to be more plain. So that's what I mean by you can just do so many different things and so many different color combos, and there's just a lot of different ways to do it. So I'm going to take this strip of pattern there, and it's just a really pretty floral, brings in some subtle colors, and I'll try to make some decisions eventually here. But I always layer everything just to kind of see how it looks, and I'll usually do several of these at one time, which you'll kind of see a little bit later. But for now, I'm just sharing how I'm just making this specific one. But normally I'll lay several out all at the same time, and it just, it makes it quicker. It makes you kind of see all of your different patterns, especially if you're going to do a journal collection or something, or a bunch of different, happy mails or something. And you kind of want everybody to have something different, but, yet kind of complementary, so that they're all unique. So this is some French book page, and I'm not sure if I want to keep that little piece on the side there, so I don't take it off yet. The reason for that is sometimes I flip it around to the back side, just depending on what I end up doing with it. But I will end up tearing that off, I believe, because I end up not wanting it. But sometimes I don't know yet, and until I see the piece finish. So you'll see where I've got, some bits longer and all that, and that's just because I haven't decided yet. But you could totally trim everything exactly the size of your pocket. You'll see that I didn't go all the way over on the pocket either, because I'm going to make mine smaller. I'm basing it on the size of the handmade paper. Another great thing about this type of project is it's very forgiving. Just because, you're layering, you can, it's relatively impossible to make any kind of mistake that can't be somehow camouflaged, hidden, fixed, etc., which you'll see in another pocket that I do. I end up stitching all of these at the end, but you don't have to do that. You could just glue them down. You could add tape to the edges. You could staple them. You could do whatever you want to do. You could hand stitch if you want to, but I do actually run all these through the sewing machine. You don't have to go all the way down the length of your pocket as well. So you'll see that the darker page right underneath the handmade paper is a shorter piece. It's not necessary. It's a pocket all on its own. And once everything is like sewn around, you don't have to go all the way to the bottom of your pocket. You actually could create like a little shorter pocket as well by gluing 3 sides of that down. And then that way it is a short pocket at the top. So like I said, there's a lot of different ways. All of these, though, they go all the way down to the very bottom of the pocket. You just have to think about your overall weight, the thickness that you're going to get. So right there, like I like my pocket to already be interesting on its own without actually adding anything in it. So I'm just kind of, showing how you can kind of create different little things right there on that piece that has a blank section. And I'm going to actually add a label. Had I not embossed paper at the top, I probably would have just embossed that piece. Like maybe if I just had text at the top or a floral at the top, then I probably would have just embossed it. And then that would have created just some more interest. But the label will work too. So like I said, you can always add to these and make them interesting or more interesting. Or you could just leave it plain. It's fine plain too, because you will put things in the pockets. So, but I like it to look nice already on its own, like it's already kind of like a piece of artwork. So I folded over the edge there. And then I decided to tear that off as well. But you'll see on the back side, it kind of adds a little interest. Even if I end up gluing something completely to the back, if I don't, then this looks, this has given the back side a little bit of interest as well. And then I could add like age tape to the back or washi or whatever if I wanted to. I don't technically think I'll do anything else to it. And then I just decided to tear off that bottom. So for now, I have a pocket that could be a page in a journal or whatever, if I wanted to do it that way. Or like a flip out. So I think now I'm going to just tear like a bunch of different things to start kind of lining up a multiple arrangement here of pockets, just to do several at a time. A multiple arrangement, like I'm a florist. Where do I get some of these words? I don't know. Just bear with me, people. Bear with me. This is how I roll. So that piece there, which is from the Peaches and Greens, I think I'm just going to use that whole piece and just adhere it to the dictionary page. It's thin. I just, printed that on cheap copy paper. Actually, all these images I did, you don't have to have anything fancy. I won't actually end up using that there. And you can see there, I just changed my mind, right? So I think I'll ink it up a little bit. And I'm using like a gold ink and then vintage photo. I think I'll use it again when I create, a few pieces here and there. I'm trying to remember. I just filmed this, I think, yesterday. I've already forgotten. Because, I've already got all kinds of other projects going on. So I'm adding glue. So I've got two pockets basically going there now, besides the one at top that I finished. I do show a close-up at the end of this so that you can kind of see, more of the details on it and the stitching and stuff, because I know it's hard to see the stitching. Since I didn't use like a black thread, it's hard to see. I love this image. I just think it is so beautiful, and that's from the Delightful Florals. It's so pretty. And there's no reason to use the whole image because it's going to be the top of a pocket. And so, it's not necessary. You don't, like, again, I said, you don't have to go all the way down the page. It'll be hidden. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. But I just love this floral. And obviously it's sped up again because, you're basically just watching me work. And I'm secretly thinking, wouldn't that be great if I could work that fast? So it's just basically a lot of folding and tearing and deciding and all that sort of stuff. So I think actually that one, I think I just did the single, dictionary piece. I don't think, that this is one that I had torn in half. So you're getting a whole variety. I think I could make these pockets like all day long, like for several days. This would be a great project for like a craft night, with girlfriends and such. I think this would be so fun to do because, you know, they're so simple, so easy. It's a perfect little project. Okay, so now I've got like, I guess I must have cut out some of this. I'm like, wait, where? We kind of jumped ahead, didn't we? Okay, so basically, I'm going to show you, what all I did. Because, we're not here for 5 hours, right? So you'll see I did like a little, like, baby pocket kind of on this ledger piece. And I used for the pocket, what I have did, I did some of the metallic watercolor, like swatches, and I did back it with another piece of dictionary page, to get that little top there, to reinforce it too. But it'd be cute, to stick in like a little note or a card or, a tiny tag or whatever. And then I embossed a piece, which I had used where I'm showing you over on that very last pocket. So this just shows you here that your pockets don't have to go all the way across. They don't. You can do whatever you want to do. And that's what's so great. And I left it a little bit longer because I think, I may fold it at the end. So we'll see. So that's that piece that I used. And then this is more brittle. So I had to back it with something. It tears really easily. So you can't really fold it. So I backed it with some more dictionary page. And that's going to go in the center. This is the more neutral one. And then I used piano roll paper. I backed it on some more dictionary. And then I've got that for the bottom pocket. So that's the neutral one that I created. And look, it's just as beautiful. They're so pretty. So this is the one that you just had seen me start working on. I'm like looking for all the different tags so that it's the tag. And I believe I used 2 of them. So there's a tag there, but then the very last pocket on the end there has another tag. So I just have that flipped over for now until I know what I'm going to do. And then I've got I chose a different letter one. And then I have this piece here, which came from that one full sheet, that I had torn all apart. And then in front of it, I'm going to put another color swatch that I did. Now, I could have made just a smaller pocket with just the color swatch, but I wanted the pocket to go all the way across. I just thought it looked better for me. So I will add later on a piece of tape there. You just don't see it until the very end. And then that just kind of ties it all in because there's just, I extended it with just another piece of book page of some sort, I think. And then here's a letter. And some of the writing just kind of gets a little bit funky, but I loved at the very top it said, and I actually didn't read the whole letter, but I caught what it said at the very, very top about the weather being nice. And I thought, you know what, that's like perfect. So I'm just showing how, like if I was going to add it to a journal, that could be the page. And then it would just fold open and my pocket would be at the top of that. Or on the top of it. That's correct. Sometimes I don't explain things very well, I don't think, but just watch, don't listen. You can mute me. So I'm showing like if you wanted to make use a ledger piece and make your pocket on top of it. Obviously this one's really skinny, but you could make like a tinier pocket. But you could use a bigger piece, obviously. I'm just kind of showing how, you can use a paper already that's like that. So it says something like we are having beautiful weather or something like that. And I thought, oh, that's cute. That's cute for the background. And then I embossed a piece of paper and I backed it with a piece of dictionary page so you would see, so it would be smooth at the back when you're sliding things in and out. But I think I'll get rid of some of that bulk. You'll see there's just a little bit too much bulk in this overall pocket when I lay everything down. And this is the other tag. So to get that like little edge on there, I used another piece of dictionary page. So I'm, gluing all the edges to get it ready because then I let it dry and then I run it through the sewing machine, which is an optional step. You don't have to do that. I just feel like, I don't know, it reinforces it and just, makes it all unified. So I'm putting glue on the sides, but then you're going to see my error, or I'll notice my error. So now I'm like, that's kind of thick with all those layers of paper. So I'm deciding, okay, which ones can I get rid of? Because I think I have like 4 or 5 pieces there and it's just too thick at the bottom. Then once I add, something into the pocket, then it's going to be really, really thick. So I just kind of get rid of the excess. But not the letter. I keep the letter there because I need that because that's my background. So I'll glue the sides, and that just helps to keep it all, together as I run it through the sewing machine. You don't have to do that part, but I just feel like it's just less fiddly, for me to just glue the sides lightly, and then I'll run it through the sewing machine.